Matt, did you ever play Steep when it came out a few years ago?
No, I didn't actually.
Well, this, for all intents and purposes, is a spiritual successor to Steep. Just because it's the same kind of game, but with new modes, that's changed its name. And I don't know why, because Steep works with bikes as well as snowboards. And
it does, doesn't
it? Yeah. So, but yeah, this is Riders Republic, made by Ubisoft Annecy. And yeah, who the same guys that made Steep. And we've got like 12, 13 minutes of B-roll here. We're just going to talk you through pretty much everything that's in it, in the game that's coming out in a date I forget now, but I want to say September 2nd. Who knows? But around then, Matt, around then.
Yeah, around then.
But by the end of the video, I will have a rock-solid date that you could just go, yeah, okay, that's great. But yeah, so we haven't played it, which is disappointing. But obviously, with the way that the world is at the moment, everything's tricky, and it is the 2nd of September. Look at that! I did that really quickly.
Nice. Before the end of the video, you're right.
Yeah, right. I did. Yeah. So yeah, like it's Riders Republic, and it's basically Steep with bikes and a few other things.
Well, this is just Steep with Steep, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is my point. But this is actually a new game mode, and it's really cool. It's like capture the zone, and you capture the zone by grinding kind of specific areas in the zone. And once you have that zone, you get a better multiplayer. So it's a really cool 6v6 multiplayer game that honestly is perhaps one of the most interesting things about the new Steep that's called Riders Republic.
Riders Republic, yeah. It looks a bit Tony Hawk, this whole section.
I feel like they've tried to make it, because this was one of my complaints about Steep, that it was kind of simmy, but it wasn't. But everybody's screaming out for a proper SSX, and nobody just wants to make it.
Okay, so this is a bit more arcadey, yeah. You think?
Well, I don't know about controls, but like visually and everything they've gone for, and the kind of mode, this feels like something that would be at home in an SSX game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sort of like madcap. Like, you don't need to take this too seriously.
Exactly.
It's basically like almost like a shooter multiplayer mode, isn't it? Just with grinding rails and stuff.
Yeah, spot on. And then it's kind of cool because it's multiplayer, and I feel like these things are the kinds of things that keep the game going. But this is, in my opinion, the biggest introduction. And this is called, I think they're called mass starts or mass races, I don't know, but it's mass something. And it's basically, depending on what you play on, but on next-gen consoles, it's a 50-plus player multiplayer kind of chaotic race, basically.
Oh my god, okay.
Different disciplines. And I think this is fantastic. Well, it looks fantastic.
It looks like a right laugh, yeah. Really chaotic, almost like that Battle Royale style feeling, isn't it? Where there's just you and so many other people trying to do one thing. That. Because I was literally writing the preview before we did the VO. So the preview is obviously going on the Xbox Achievements, PlayStation Trophies. And I said that this is, for all intents and purposes, it's Battle Royale mode. And I think it's great because of the chaotic nature of it. And just there's so much going on as well, isn't there? I'll tell you what this reminds me a little bit of as well. It's a little bit Fall Guys-y. Like, that's sort of like the... Yeah, loads of players trying to get to the end of an objective and that sort of thing, where you could be miles behind or you could be in first, and it's just a big group of people. And that's it. And the battle, it's 50% skill and also 50% luck. Yeah. Because you have to avoid everybody else, right? So yeah. I think they're going to be great, and that's one of the new things. Well, those two are the kind of the new things, as well as the bikes. Okay. But yeah, I genuinely, for me, they look fantastic. And obviously, they're kind of done slightly weirdly. It's like you can't just go from one to the next. They're done every hour on the map. So you have to then go to kind of almost register. Okay. I don't know whether they'll change that, but like, interesting way of doing it, but I'm not sure that it's the best way of doing it. Is that like a social thing? Like, to try and make sure there's enough people in there? Do you think that's them being like, we're not sure we're going to have enough people playing this consistently to fill out the games? And if you set a time and a schedule, you're going to... Because you were saying, obviously, this seems like it's Steep 2, but they've changed the name. And wasn't that because didn't Steep not really live up to... Not expectations in terms of quality, but the Ubisoft's targets for it? Yeah, probably. Yeah, they probably overestimate it. But I enjoyed Steep. I spent a lot of time playing Steep.
It just, like I said, it was a little bit too serious for me, and I wasn't looking for something like a serious snowboarding game.
Yeah, this looks a lot more chaotic in a sort of fun, memeable sort of way.
Exactly, right? Like you go and you get like first, and you got to win, and then somehow somebody clatters with you, and you end up just not qualifying or winning the race. So, but yeah, just the chaotic nature for me is like, this looks great. The thing that annoys me though is, right, and this goes across the entire industry, not just Ubisoft. This is a 4K game that they've given us 1080 B-roll for. I'm like, we've moved on. We've moved on. We're no longer 1080. We are a 4K industry. Can developers and publishers please acknowledge that? So yeah, I don't know how this game actually looks, because the presentation we had was a little bit. It was done through Discord, and it was a little bit jerky.
Yeah, it looks a little bit funny, doesn't it? I mean, I saw a nice sunbeam earlier, which I thought, that looks quite pretty. But
it's crazy, because I think the last Steep was 4K as well. So because it would have been a PS4 Pro and a One X game. So
yeah,
like the fact that the B-roll is only 1080 just annoyed me a little bit. But you got like cool stunts like that as well, which is cool.
So how many sort of different things did you see? We've seen like snowboards, bikes. I think I saw skis at one point and a jetpack.
Yeah. So there's a load. But in terms of careers, so the careers there's each kind of careers for different disciplines.
Okay.
So there's 6 main careers. There's 2 for the bikes. One's freestyle, one's racing. 2 for skis, which I assume is boards as well, freestyle and races. Wingsuit and rocket wingsuit. So those are your main modes.
Okay.
But on top of that, you've got like gliders, you've got parachutes, you've got a snowmobile to get around the area, you've got a paramotor, which is like the mini choppers to get around the area. So there's loads of different tools to get around the map. But the actual disciplines are mainly it's bikes and snowboards and rockets, wingsuits and normal wingsuits. But if you just want to explore, you can just kind of use your paramotor or your snowmobile, or you can ski or whatever. So there's loads of different options there for you if you want it.
Oh, okay, and obviously, like you didn't get a chance to really get your hands on with it. But how do they say how differently each discipline sort of plays? Like, are you doing tricks on all of them? Is it fairly like transferable, I guess, or are they?
I imagine that there's the 2 disciplines, because like it was in Steep a little bit. There was the straight-up races, and then your freestyle races. Well, they are races and also trick events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, there's this. It's pretty much the 2 disciplines, but there'll be different variations of them, I imagine.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah, it's like this. There's loads of different, and this is the kind of the free-for-all stuff. This is where you got to get so many tricks that you can do, and you get so many points, but between now and the end of the course, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But you can play everything multiplayer, you can play everything co-op. There's loads of just different events for everyone. It seems like a classic Ubisoft game that's got a ridiculous amount of content.
Yeah.
But Ubisoft games like this haven't really been so much about the amount of content. It's been about the quality of the content and being able to keep people coming back, if that makes sense.
I was going to say, because it looks very multiplayer focused, especially in those sort of like big races and things. Like,
yeah, right.
How much do you think there is here? I mean, obviously this is a preview. You haven't seen the full game, but do you reckon there's enough for sort of single player to enjoy themselves? Or?
Yeah, I mean, if you played Steep, like there was enough to kind of keep you occupied anyway. There's hundreds and thousands of events. And that you can get medals, and you can kind of work through the career and do that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there are enough events just to kind of keep yourself occupied. But I feel like, for me and Steep, that only kept me occupied for a while before I was like, I'm a little bit bored of this now.
Okay.
But I feel like your multiplayer, the 6 versus 6, like the kind of crazy events with the zones and stuff like that, that and the mass races are going to be what I kind of eventually flick onto.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're kind of the most memeable, which is obviously create the most just fun content, I guess.
Yeah, you can see people sort of talking about that stuff, can't you? And posting things like that, social media and things. That all the jumps and stuff like this are really setting off my fear of heights, which is quite impressive.
Oh wow, that's nuts. No, I used to get that in video games, a little bit of vertigo. Not so much in kind of snowboard games.
No, I guess not.
Although I have not jumped that high or You're quite low to the ground with this, Matt.
It was more the bike one, I think. Going to because I've gone down hills and bikes. It's a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, right. When you can kind of associate that feeling with just I've done that.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it looks like a good laugh. I mean, this is very Pilot Wingsy, this stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, and these were in. This was in Steep. Eventually, I think it came in via DLC as part of a season pass thing. But when I first reviewed Steep, this wasn't a part of it. It's just normal wingsuits. But yeah, you're right. I actually haven't tried it in Steep. So this is effectively new for me.
Yeah,
but I spent so much time in Steep with these, just trying to get the optimum. I was trying to get golds, 3 stars, just absolutely nuts. These are great, but again, this is more of a distraction for me. I'm all about snowboarding in these kind of games.
Although nice. Okay.
I do feel like the bikes, I could get down with the bikes. Just depends on the handling, I guess.
It's funny you say that as well about the that being new to you, because I think the big point with this game is that hopefully, if Ubisoft play the cards right, this should be all of this should be new to everyone, shouldn't it? There's a reason they're not associating it with Steep, and I think they're going to want to try and get a new sort of player base that didn't really touch that game.
I don't really understand that personally. For instance, it's almost as if they're embarrassed of it. I know they're not, obviously. But
it does. No, you're right though. It does that is how it comes across.
It was a good game. It was a very good game. It just kind of lacked a little bit on. Honestly, I can't remember. I just think it was after a while it just wasn't incredibly fun. It was just a little bit repetitive.
They might have found it wasn't very marketable as well, or either just the name of it or something like that.
That is a good point, to be honest. And yeah, Steep 2 probably wouldn't get across, but to be fair, they've just done the Crew 2 and the Crew. The Crew didn't sell massively well, and they did the Crew 2, and the Crew 2 had all the missing vehicles that the Crew had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, did that go on to sell well? Do you think they've... I mean, that was a few years back now. Maybe they just really wanted to start fresh with this new game.
Who knows, Matt? We'll find out on the 2nd of September on all the Xboxes, the PlayStation, obviously, the PC, the Switch, maybe? I don't know. Xbox and PlayStation, definitely, though, and those are the sites that we cover. So thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Cheers, folks. Bye.
Bye.